I'm on time-ish, I think. So I count it. I count it's on time because it's in the margin of error, and I decide the margin of error is 5 minutes or so, and I launched it at 5 minutes. So I count it on time. What do you think? I think it's good. Finally get to make it to the stream. Nice. Welcome to the stream, Ski and Pseudo, James, and Dark One. Mazamel? I probably just messed that up. But welcome to the stream. Impressive-ish. As heck, welcome to the stream. Pseudo, I am great. Well, ish. Pretty hectic today, this morning, trying to get everything ready. So, overall, yes, really good. How about you? Almost right. Nice. I'll take almost. Farad, welcome to the stream. Didn't even see that. Did you see the message I sent in the Discord, Farad? It's about the plasma thing, I think. What was the thing? Yeah, the thing, the bug you reported was fixed. First stream and just listening on a punk podcast. Nice. Welcome to the stream, Paul. Did you like the Ubuntu podcast episode I was on? Specifically, my part of it. Not that I'm looking for compliments or anything. I'm not fishing for compliments. No. I would never do that. I would never do that. I got a link. New mic, nice Dark One. Yes, I have used Saranara before, Dark One. I don't necessarily like it though. It's like it's there's a lot of music players that have that are almost exactly what I want, but not quite. Sayonara is one of those. Has a lot of potential, but just not quite there. Welcome to the stream, Jensu. Made me think Firefox video. What should I do with it? Yeah, I need to make. There's like so many videos I need to make. Firefox. I have multiple Firefox. I had a video I was planning on doing just about container tabs, and then I didn't. So, I have a lot of videos I need to do, and I'm going to. I say this every week, but I'm gonna start doing more throughout the week. I have. I'm gonna do a Firefox one, the product review one, some other things. But it will happen. I guarantee it. I guarantee at least one more video this coming week. At least one. Preferably, I'm going to do like 2 or 3, but at least one more. That's not what I wanted. I need to open this one. Okay. Open this. That one. Okay, resize. What am I doing? Oh, wrong one. That would do that. When you try to resize a window with a specific shortcut, and then you use the wrong shortcut. That typically doesn't work. Just so you know. Just yeah. Okay, right. I think it's everything. Let's get it like right here. And resize that. All right. Let's see. Using the Xiaomi Mi Notebook Pro. Nice. I probably said that wrong. Why OEMs don't ship their laptop with Linux as well as the way Dell. It's because people don't know Linux, so they just by default use Windows. But also there's partnerships, and Microsoft gives them money and deals and stuff. So there's incentive that way. There's a lot of reasons, really. I'm going to go download Farron. Nice. Beach-related stuff. Okay. I will be okay with not knowing what you're talking about. That's okay. You give me the permission, I will accept it. You were using Firefox Snap. What are the reasons to use the Firefox Snap? As heck, I don't actually use the Firefox Snap necessarily. I have used it, but Popey does it by default. He uses the Snap like exclusively. I use it just for testing and stuff like that. But because there's really no big difference between the two, because the vast majority of the differences are like minimal, like minuscule things, like not a big deal. But as far as like why we'd use a Snap, it's because Mozilla maintains it. So you get the update day one. You know, sometimes you have to wait for your repo to update the application in your distro. But you don't have to do that with Mozilla. So Mozilla, the Snap is maintained by Mozilla, therefore it gets updated quickly. James Kane. Yeah, that's a good point. It's not a part of the topic because, I mean, that poll is kind of limited in how many people vote on it. So I actually don't really want to talk about it because there's something else I'm talking about in the show that kind of would seem like I'm biased. I mean, I am kind of biased, but like everybody is. But I don't really like present it as if I am, because it's like it's not fair. You know, because there's a GNOME issue, and if I proceeded or followed the GNOME issue with Plasma's better, that seems a bit awkward. So. OEM deals. Yeah, there's some deals, yeah. But there's other things about the snaps that are really cool. But mostly that's why. For Firefox, that's the main reason. Okay. Actually, I didn't check these. Wait, did I not even do it? I have to come back to that one. Fix it later. Okay, cool. Only one need to fix. Okay. I like that. Anthony, welcome to the stream. Mazamel, I use plasma. I mean, I'm not against other DEs. I use other ones too, but my main one is plasma for sure. And currently, I'm on Neon, although I am very interested in checking out Kubuntu 1804 when it comes out, because I've been participating and contributing to it to improve it. So a lot of good things have been done on that one. So I'm looking forward to that. But right now I'm on Neon. Yeah, Bryant. Yeah, Plasma's way better than it used to be. Oxygen was So anyway, next, let's go to the topics and stuff. Seeing war flashbacks. Neon took a bit of, like, when I installed Neon when it first came out within like about a week. So I've had the same install of Neon for about a week. Oh, I don't know what I just said or why I said it that way, but that's not true. What I was saying was I installed it about a week after, but that means I've been having the same install for 2 years or so, almost 2 years or so. That's what I meant to say. Anyway, so yeah. So anyway, I've had it. When I first installed Neon, there was some quirks to get over. I mean, there was some weird display server driver stuff that I had to fix. So that was really interesting. So I don't think it's like the best for everybody. It was just like Kubuntu at the time was not really ready to go. Like the 1604 release of Kubuntu was not the best, and most of that stuff has been solved. You know, in like the coming releases after that, like the 1610, the 1704. Those fixed a lot of things, but 1804 is looking to be a fantastic LTS release. So like a lot, like the LTS of Ubuntu, the LTS of Plasma, the LTS of Qt, like awesome. Like there's so many good combination things. So I look forward to it. Missing on-screen keyboard and got no replies. The on-screen keyboard thing, I don't know. I think they're doing that for Waylon. And the wallpapers, I don't really care about wallpapers as far as like the defaults. I don't leave them. I change them anyway. So, I mean, I don't even like the latest Plasma wallpaper for 511 and 512 was the same wallpaper, and it's so brown. It's just like the design is nice. If it just wasn't so brown, this odd color choice. I used to use OpenSUSE. Beauty of OpenSUSE is that GNOME and KDE both work together well. Interesting. I actually use the GNOME workflow in my Plasma setup, so it doesn't look like Plasma at all. It looks kind of like GNOME. Yeah, 2 years is a long time. Yeah, in Linux, it's unheard of. Every time I say that to someone, they're like, "What?" Yep, it's 2 years. I'm one of those people who don't distro hop. I mean, I used to do it all the time, but after you've been in the Linux world for over a decade, the distro hopping addiction kind of wears off a little bit. So that's why I don't do it. Although I do kind of want to do back, because since I'm doing videos now, I'm doing videos and I want to do like distro reviews and stuff like that. So I do actually need to force myself to distro hop, which is like the opposite of what a lot of people want to do. They try to stop doing it. The vault's cool. I like those, Bryant. Is this the Plasma wallpaper or the Ubuntu pre-ambiance? I have no idea. I have no idea what their wallpapers are. The brown thing. Oh, that was 5.11. And it has nothing to do with Ubuntu. That's just Plasma. That's the Plasma default with outside of distros. That's just like they make a new wallpaper every release except for 5.12. The 5.11 was the brown one, and they kept the brown one for 5.12 for some reason. I don't know. Moving to Breeze Dark is a big improvement visually. James Kane, they didn't really technically do the move to Breeze Dark. They did what my suggestion was, what they adopted was to do a hybrid approach. So like all the panels and widgets and menus and things like that are all dark, and the windows by default are light. So it's like it's a hybrid, which I think is better overall because it solves the annoyance of the panel and stuff, but also keeps the support for all applications to use the proper theming. And not everybody likes dark themes because it is a acquired taste. Like I like dark themes in a combination. So like sometimes I like them and sometimes I don't. Depends on what I'm doing. I actually don't like reading like long text in dark themes because it's technically not good for you. But I have a lot of other things that are dark, so I'm all over the place. That chair is loud, huh? It's pretty loud. Oh, I say Ubuntu used to have brown wallpapers. Yeah. Actually, the Hardy Heron, that was a good wallpaper. It was brown, but it was good. Main neon install at the moment. Working really well. Looking positive. Nice. Thanks for coming to the stream, Red Rubbo. And yeah, I agree. The 1804 version of Kubuntu looks like they did a lot of effort on the polish side, and I'm not one to brag. That's not true. I'm fine with it. I did help with the polish stuff, so especially the theming and stuff like that. So you're welcome. I mean, I didn't do it technically. I didn't do the work. Rick and others did the work. I just gave them ideas to do it, what to do, I guess. So I'm okay. I'm like half responsible. Okay, maybe that's not 25-30%. 25-30% responsible. How about that? I don't know. Brag away. Nice. I appreciate that. Let's see. I'm going to set this up to go to here. Actually, I should put it on here too. Just providing strong recommendations. Yes, there you go. The Numix OS? Numix doesn't have an OS. You might be talking about the Nitrix thing. Isn't it fun that all the words in Linux are either like impossible to say or very similar to other ones? That's so fun. Modesty when not needed doesn't suit you. Yeah, that's fair. I'm typically not a modest person. That's true. Or I mean, not. I'm not like braggadocious. Is that a word? I don't know. I'm not conceited. I just if how are you gonna know if someone did something if they don't tell you, right? Like I've actually had people like surprised that I do things, So like I've had people say something like, um, "Why do you like what all do you do? You're just a podcaster." It's like, well, no, I also contribute to distros and stuff. Then I give them the list, and they're like, "Oh, wow, you actually are involved." They're like, "Yeah, how would you know unless I tell you, right?" So I think it's fair. It's not bragging. It's just like it's informating. It's informating. No, information distribution is what I like to call it when I say it properly. Early plans to that far. Bryant, there's some other stores that do the whole package name. I mean, the app name instead of package name. Discover is actually one of those that does it right. They do other things that need work, but that part's good. The App Center from Elementary does it well properly too. Plus, we have someone to whine to if we're not happy. If that refers to me, or is it Farron? If it's from me, I don't want to be that target. It's my fault then, I guess. I did it to myself. Because if I tell you I did something, it kind of goes both ways. If I tell you I did something, you can tell me, what's wrong. If I don't tell you, then you don't know I did it, and then that's not good for information sharing. But also, it's the same thing that happens with giving suggestions. If they don't take the suggestions, you never give another one. If they do accept a suggestion, you might give even more, which happened to Kubuntu. I gave them one suggestion, they listened, and I gave them then 20 or 25, 30 or more, like whatever. Except it's still great. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. I'll go down to here. I think I can still do this. Okay. Okay. Let's go to here. We're gonna do a topic now. Hey, I'm gonna be on time and also productive and scheduled. It's not like I completely wasted 27 minutes and didn't do a single one. Nah. I mean, it's not wasted. It's just like not productive to the concept of doing a show by not doing a topic. Yeah. Constructive feedback. That's true. Warming the audience. Yeah, there you go. That was my intention. Yeah. That's wasn't at all getting sidetracked in any way. I'm gonna change Plasma is gonna change tiling key bindings. Yes, they are. But they don't have the ones for the corners. They do have the one for the corners. Ish. Not really. The way they're doing the tiling, I don't like. I don't like the key bindings they're using for the tiling. My suggestion was completely different. Not completely different, similar but different. I wish they'd have done that. Although it wouldn't have been as. I mean, it depends on the keyboard layout whether that'd be possible or not, or useful or not. So I guess it depends. Their logic of doing it is better. Like for if you have a normal standard keyboard, then my suggestion is perfect. If you have like a laptop keyboard that has a weird locations of things, maybe not so much. So if that's why they chose it, I mean that makes sense. So I probably should comment, but like I don't know. I don't know why they did it. So it could have been like a good option for what they chose, like the compensation for availability of keyboard options. I don't know. Because they can't use a numpad system, so they have to use the arrows plus the. I don't know what that's called. I always call it the home end section. I don't know if that's actually what it's called. If it even has a name. Maybe it doesn't. Let's pretend it doesn't and just say home end. And that way I'm not wrong. I like that. All right. Let's do one. Krita 4.0 was released this week, and it has a lot of great updates and like performance improvements, and overall, it is just fantastic. Because like one of the biggest problems that Krita had was that it was kind of limited in the amount of resources it could use and the speed it could do things. The version 4.0 adds a ton of new improvements. So it has multi-threading. I'm not sure if every aspect is multi-threaded, but you can do certain things and certain processes in different threads and stuff like that. So it can free up a lot of space and like increase the performance like a ton. It also had a rewrite of their vector layer system, like just completely, and they added Python scripting for different tools. They also added a text tool. Now the text tool is kind of limited, but it's going to be increased like in future releases. But the first release is like a basic feature, which is still really cool. And they've added improved the gradient tool, so that like they've kind of like merged it into another tool. So it's just like overall nice polishing. And another really cool thing is that they're making it so that you can copy and paste shapes from Krita and Inkscape back and forth because they're using the SVG structure now, which is awesome. Because SVG is the standard for Inkscape, so it's also it's a standard anyway, but that's what Inkscape uses. So the fact that Krita is using SVG now, or SVG version 1.1 now, it makes it really easy to go back and forth between Inkscape and Krita. So that is awesome. Like overall, the latest release of Krita is fantastic, and I can't wait to play with it some more. But overall, my testing thus far has it's just great. It's just great. The multi-threading alone is awesome. So there's even like extra features they've added. So anyway, I'll just go check out the show notes if you'd like to see some more about what's going on with Krita. There is a ton of fantastic things, and I just can't wait to play with it some more. And if you're interested in doing some image editing, this is not really that. This is more like image creation with like painting, and you can like design comic stuff like that. So it's if they added some image manipulation program aspects to it, then Krita would be like the best solution for that. But so far, right now, it is a fantastic painting tool, and I've probably said fantastic too many times, and I'm going to go ahead and end this topic now. think I said it like 7 times. That's how good it is. That's how good it is. But still, I feel like I said it like so many times, like I'm just going to stop talking. Welcome to the stream, Dutch Cheese. Can't buy Linux ready laptops here, maybe Dell. Yeah, Dell's pretty awesome. Like as far as like their support for Linux is like, I rarely have anything that doesn't work with Dell. Even though they don't plan on it, it still typically works fine. Looking for a new laptop. Any thoughts on the KDE Slimbook 2? They should give you one for review. I told them they should give me one for review. Well, I didn't tell them. I asked them very nicely. They said that they will keep me in consideration. That's all I got right now. So maybe, who knows? Maybe not. It looks like a great laptop. There are some things that it doesn't have that are not perfect. I don't remember what that is though. Overall, it's great. It has the USB Type-C. It's got like a decent. It's got a pretty decent processor. It doesn't have dedicated graphics, but that's because it's an Ultrabook. And I think that's the only thing I could think of that was a problem. Like there was something, but it wasn't. It wasn't a reason not to buy it. It was just like it'd be really cool. Also insane to have an Ultrabook that has dedicated graphics. So that's probably just ridiculous for even being an issue. But whatever. Whatever I'm saying, I don't know. I did actually make a video for the Slimbook. I didn't record the content, but there was Jonathan Riddle recorded some content for the Slimbook 2, and I did the editing for it and all the transitions and stuff. So if you check that out on the KDE Community YouTube channel, I made that. So, well, I edited and produced it. I didn't technically make it. I mean, I'm not the host. I'm not the presenter in it. So technically, it's like 50-50. Krita, a.k.a. the Fantastic Tool. Nisui. It might be right. I'm not sure. Welcome to the stream. And it is a fantastic tool. I mean, I felt like I was saying it too many times because I was like hyping it up. But it is that good. It's just like, that's enough. I've said it too many times. More experience with Dells, but I do like the idea of KDE being pre-installed. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice laptop overall. I don't know if it would be worth the price when you compare it to an XPS. I don't know. It depends on like the hardware that XPS can provide or not. But I'm not really a hardware guy, so I know like the basics, and I know like some things about like different versions of the graphics cards and the different like series of the processors and stuff like that. But for the most part, I wouldn't say like I'm a go-to expert on that kind of thing. I dabble, is what I'm saying, I suppose. Every time Michael says good, video speeds up. It should. It should. ThinkPads are also play nice with Linux. That's true. I don't like the form factor of ThinkPads. Yeah, I get it. The ThinkPad was really cool in the 90s and the 80s and whatever. But it still looks like it's from the 90s and 80s. So. Come on. Raphael, welcome to the stream. Haven't been hanging around in the Intergo channel for a long time. How have you been? How are you? Oh, right. That's why I recognize your name from the Intergo channel. Life in Linux has been good to you. Yes, for the most part, yes. I haven't actually been hanging around as much as I should be in that channel. You know, being a part of the team and everything. Trying to do a lot more, and sometimes things just get deprioritized. That sounds like that's wrong. That doesn't seem like that. There should be a word for that. And that's not it. It might be. I don't know. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what I'm saying. So I hope you do. That would be convenient. All right. Next topic. Because why not? We're going to switch to this and go here. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the stream, Steven. I appreciate you coming to it. Ah, come on. I had the thing ready. It's fine. Up next in the show is the that's what happens when a sentence just halfway you have a sentence in your head and then you blank halfway through and just give up on it. That is what happens. If you didn't know, now you do. LG announced this week that WebOS is being open sourced. So they've got a new initiative for the WebOS OSE, or WebOS Open Source Edition. You can find out more about it at webosose.org. I almost messed that up, but for the most part, this is great news because I am a big fan of WebOS. Well, the original WebOS, because I haven't used it since since LG took over, so I don't really know about that. But as far as legacy goes, I kind of love WebOS. So WebOS was a operating system that was made by Palm in 2009, technically. 2008 was when they announced it, and 2009 is when they shipped it. That's kind of a long time, but still. It was probably the only operating system that I thought had a chance to beat Android and iOS at the time. Now, it didn't beat them because it was handled poorly by Palm. Unfortunately, they announced a lot of cool features way before it was ready to actually be used. And then by announcing those features, Android copied them. So they kind of lost a little bit of their steam in that case. But I was still a fan of WebOS because WebOS is based on Linux. It was a Linux operating system for mobile, and that's why I got my WebOS Palm Pre. And I still have it because I'm a huge fan of the operating system. Unfortunately, the hardware was not so good, so they did not last very long. This thing now currently does not turn on unless you have it powered on. So there's another example of one of the problems they had. But Palm sold that operating system to HP. HP used it for very little, and then they made a tablet, decided they didn't want to make the tablet anymore, fire sold it, got rid of all the units they had, which I almost got a chance to buy, but I missed it by like 20 minutes. It was annoying. But the HP then sold to LG. LG turned it in 2013, bought it, and turned it into a smart TV interface. So if you buy an LG TV, you probably have the WebOS interface on it if you bought it in the recent years. And it's actually a really nice interface. It's like the only interface of a TV that's actually decent. That's not a very high bar, I admit, but it's still very good. But with the announcement of the WebOS open sourcing, this has a ton of potential to maybe give Android a run for its money now, because back in the day, Palm was really ahead of its time because WebOS is a web-based technology, as the name implies, that back then the hardware probably wasn't good enough to use it anyway. as far as like long term. But the latest like the latest hardware, like if I could just take this operating system, put it in this phone, I would love it. Like it would be amazing because I'm a huge fan of the WebOS concept even. And like just for example, the web like the card system that you have in Android where you can like have a card and swipe it away, that was invented by WebOS and then Android took it. Um, which I'm not bitter about because I did switch to Android at some point, so it's not a really big deal. But I wish I could still keep WebOS. I guess I can't. I'm bitter because I want to use WebOS. Anyway, hopefully, the announcement and the open source aspects is going to make improvements. So we'll see. Anyway, hopefully the announcement of the WebOS open source initiative will reinvigorate the community, invigorate the I guess the ecosystem and the potential that WebOS has to become like a really good a really good operating system to use in a mainstream aspect. I would look forward to it. I can't wait. I hope it does happen, and I'm not just in denial or delusion right now. Yeah, I hope I'm not just in delusion. Anyway. I spent way too much time. I'm going to have to edit that out because there's a lot of things. There's a dog barking and all kinds of stuff. But that's fine. WebOS is already on a Raspberry Pi. You can actually do that now, John. The more alternatives, the better. I agree. Here's a flashback WebOS. Yeah. I'm such a fanboy of WebOS. Palm Pods were good. John, the WebOS, since the announcement, there was actually been work being added to the Raspberry Pi for a build of WebOS for Raspberry Pi. I don't know if it's technically available for download and usage, but I know that they are currently working on it, and I think I saw they said it was possible to use it now. I don't know for sure, but I think it was. Either way, it's still coming. For sure. It is guaranteed coming. Yeah, I don't care about PureOS. I do not care. But I can actually find out the I think that's it. Oh, no. Spelled it wrong. Okay. My limited amount of time to search on something did not work. So I'll try to find the link later. Pun intended. There's not a pun. That's not pun. I didn't miss that. No. I still don't see a pun. The HP touchpad is what they called it with WebOS. And I tried to buy it. Basically, you had online, you had about 20 minutes to order it, or it was gone. Because that's how fast it went. Because it was so cheap, and the hardware was so good, and WebOS is so good that HP is so stupid for killing it. But they all went out quick. So then you could go to the stores and try to find them. I went to 3 different stores, nothing. They all had like 3. and they all sold out within like an hour, like before, when they just opened. It's like, the pun is so good that it bothers me that I didn't think of it and didn't get it. So well done, Farron. But now I am annoyed that I did not get it. So it'd be like this. You face palm with palm. Anyway. I'm disappointed in myself now. Let's see. I'm compiling it myself, but it needs 100 gigabytes for the compile. Whoa. That's ridiculous. I need to buy the new Pi. Yeah, the new Pi actually looks really good. I haven't actually bought a Pi since the Model B. Like the really old one. Like I think it's like the first gen of the Model B. And before they even changed the like, it still only has 2 USB ports. That's how old it is. I have 2 of those, so I haven't updated. I haven't bought a new Pi since then, and I'm thinking about buying another Pi because of the latest version with the gigabit Ethernet. I mean, technically gigabit, but not exactly all the time. What? Not going to that. That doesn't matter. Welcome to the stream, Tony. Do you have your tonsils? What a weird question. I have no idea. So probably yes. Welcome to the stream. I literally can't remember what your name is supposed to be because I would always purposefully call you Stencils, and I know that's not right. So now I don't remember what it's supposed to Stansless? Stencils. I want it to be Stencils. I know it's not, though. Now I can't remember what it was. But anyway, welcome to the stream. Okay, I could just say Stan. Okay, I can remember that one. I still want it to be Stencils, though. Oh, Rasudo, you already got the Raspberry Pi 3? Nice. I'll check your video out for that later, after this. And I'll critique it and show you everything you did wrong. Because that's what you're supposed to do on YouTube, if you didn't know. Okay, next topic. Should be good to go. Okay. Stan is less. I mean, that's, yeah, I could see that. I still want Stencils, though. Welcome to the stream, either way. I'll try to stop calling you Stencils. I promise. I will try. Let's go to the next topic. Wait, what? 53. 15. Up next in the show, we got some really cool updates from the KDE Connect team. So first up is the remote keyboard plugin. The remote keyboard plugin is really interesting because it allows you to basically type on your phone via your desktop in like a notification area. So you can change it to use the KDE Connect remote keyboard and then just type with your phone, with your regular keyboard in your desktop. So that's a really interesting idea. I mean, I'm not really sure how practical it is because you have to switch back and forth if you're like when you stop using your keyboard for your computer, you got to switch it back into the phone. So I'm not really sure how often I would be willing to do that, but we'll see. I'll test that out. And also, oh, there's the, by the way. You can now also, instead of just replying to just SMS, you can now reply to WhatsApp and any other application that supports the protocol that Android allows for quick reply. So that's pretty cool. I'm not really sure how many applications support this or what specifically supports it, but in theory, it should be a lot. So it'd be really cool to find out what all does. Like maybe Telegram, that'd be really nice. They also added icons and notifications, so it makes the notifications look nice and polished. Like there's a few things that are mainly just like polished improvements. And this multimedia control permissions is cool. So you can have like extra permissions for different things. So you can be more specific about maybe you don't want everything to work and other things, Anyway. So this is nice, but I'm not really sure what's different because this is direct share. You could always share content from like URLs from your browser through KDE Connect to your main computer. So I'm not totally sure what this is. Unless it's like maybe like instead of just doing KDE Connect, oh, I know what it is now. Instead of just clicking KDE Connect and then picking which one you want to connect to or send through, you can just send directly from here. That makes sense. So there you go. They also redesigned the Plasmoid, which is not that much of a difference, but overall it's still nice to see that they're polishing up the things. But my favorite thing is easily the improvements to the multimedia control system. Like they added this album art. That's cool, but this is what I like the most: is the ability to have the media player as a notification on your lock screen. I didn't think I would use it that much. Turns out I was wrong. I use it all the time. That's awesome. So there's a lot of cool stuff coming from KDE Connect, and I look forward to seeing even more updates. What time was it? 5:56:20. Okay. Done. Trusty tar. Must do something trusty. Nice. I mean, I disagree, but welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream, Wasson. Technically, there are more sky below you than above you. What? Unless you're doing like some kind of like wordplay thing. Like the sky on the other side of the planet type thing. Google Voice typing thing. Yeah. That's interesting. The remote keyboard's pretty cool, but it is kind of awkward. Signal supports it. Nice. That's good. 56 or 57 is what? Version KDE connecting to Ubuntu and the mini integration of Plasma with Firefox. It's definitely possible they might backport some of that stuff. I think KDE Connect will be in the new version of Kubuntu because this is a new blog post, but the technical like some of the features that are in this blog post are not new to KDE Connect. So like the media player thing that it was just talking about is was released like a month ago. No, 2 weeks ago. Either way, it's possible those will be in there. I can't guarantee it, but it's possible. All right. 58. Firefox Quantum come from French. I don't know what that means. There we go. Mm-hmm. Earlier in the show, we talked about Inkscape alongside with Krita, but we also had an update from Inkscape itself. So this is mostly just a maintenance release fixing some bugs and some other problems, but there are some other things that are pretty cool. So they added the support for right to left text, so you can now do use Inkscape to make art for languages that use the right to left. You can also have new options for exporting SVGs via the command line, so that's pretty nice. You can now do multi-line text support for PDF and LaTeX exporting. That's nice. Improved ellipsis controls, which is pretty nice. Yes, ellipse control. Anyway, I felt like I said that wrong, but I didn't. You can now render tile. It can change. You can tune the performance of the render tiling preferences. So that is nice to have. And they've also improved a lot of their documentation, which is always a good thing. Like last couple episodes, I talked about documentation a couple times. Documentation is way more important than people typically give it credit for. And Inkscape is always really on top of making the documentation as good as possible. So I appreciate that as well. Oh 01, 01, 20. All the distribution of Firefox 01. What? I wonder when the fruit phones. I don't know. They said they're working on it, but I don't know when they're going to do it. 5.13 is having the integration with Firefox. I'm not really sure when, though. MX has some kind of monitor thingy, doesn't it? I don't know. iDevice mounter. I assume iPhone. Welcome to the stream, Surge. This week, the Node Source team announced that the Node.js snap is available. If you're not familiar, Node.js is a cross-platform JavaScript runtime environment. It's open source as well, and it's most commonly used now for web app as a web app runtime. So, like if you've ever heard of npm, that's the package manager for Node.js. Although Node package manager is not what it means. It technically doesn't have a name, so that doesn't matter. So what's really cool about this is that by having a snap, Node.js is a lot more easy to. It lowers the barrier to entry to using npm type files and to npm based programs. It also means that because it's being maintained by Node Source, it means that it's a lot easier to install Node.js, where it has sometimes been a pain to get either the stable version or the beta version because Node changes so fast, so much, that this would make it a lot easier to utilize Node.js based applications. So that is fantastic to see. And they're also using the classic style snap, which is really cool because it integrates with the system more directly. So if you ever wanted to try out some apps but you couldn't do it because you saw that it depended on Node.js, now it might be possible to do so. Oh, 5, 45. Doom, 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 doom. Okay. How can I install an OS on an external 1 terabyte hard drive? It requires your BIOS to do it. So you can technically do it, but it requires your BIOS to support that. So you got to check to see if that supports it or not first. Inkscape started using Git finally. Yeah, they switched to GitLab about 2 months ago, something like that. I don't remember exactly. Somewhere around there. I agree, Sabrine. I probably said that wrong. Sabrin? Sabrin. I'm going to go with that. Welcome to the stream. I'm going to try to say it. I know the umlaut there. Approve. How close is that? All right. We're going to switch to this one, though. Wait, wrong one still. There we go. Darktable 2.4.2 was released, and this comes with it's basically just a maintenance update, but also it's got a couple nice features in that it has it's added compression control for the TIFF exporting. It's added presets for location search in the map mode, and it is also added a battery indicator for people running Darktable on a laptop. So that's nice. Probably the most important thing though is that they added support for more varieties of cameras, so that if you have a camera that wasn't previously supported, you might be able to use it now. Because if you're not familiar, Darktable is a raw image editing, like photo manipulation, but more of like it's kind of like Lightroom, but it's a open source version of Lightroom from Adobe. Lightroom is from Adobe. It's like an open source like raw image editing, so you can enhance and improve it's mainly for photography rather than manipulation. But anyway, check out Darktable if you're interested, and Darktable 2.4.2. I like Darktable. It's pretty cool. Infography. Nice. That was right. Nice. Awesome. Got it. Why would you need a battery indicator RAM notifications? Because a lot of times people use these types of files in full screen and these programs in full screen, because Darktable is um, very much an enhanced type of not enhanced. It's it takes over a lot of the focus, so that's why. Yep. Thanks for coming to the stream, Pseudo. Farron, the thing you linked in the Discord wasn't working. You made a comment about it not working, and now all of a sudden it's working. Just so you know. Let's see. I prefer your good news to trucking. Thanks, Serge. I appreciate it. Um, 37. Let's try Come on, it's the wrong thing again. So, unfortunately, we got some news this week that the GNOME Shell project is having some memory leak issues. Now, this was reported a couple weeks ago, about four weeks ago or so, and there was a video that was demonstrating this that was uploaded that basically showed that if you interacted with the GNOME Shell enough times, that there would be a memory leak, so that the shell would be using more RAM than necessary. So, like, it's not typical. Like, I'll just go ahead and show you. Like, the ranges depending on what you're doing is based on, like, if you open a menu, if you open the overview, if you activate more applications and then load the overview, it would, like, add extra memory usage for apparently no reason. Now, what happened typically is that they found that it was adding 0.1 megabytes for each action being made, such as opening the overview. And it would do it also seemingly every minute at an extra 0.1 megabytes. It doesn't seem like a lot, and it's not really a lot, but the more you use it and the longer your computer is running, it would create this problem. Now, the only reason I'm mentioning it is because unfortunately, it's not going to be fixed in the Ubuntu 18.04 release, because it seems to be they just noticed this recently. But there is a solution it's not necessarily like the cleanest solution, but if you hit Alt F4, type the letter R, and hit Enter, that will restart the shell, and it will kind of like refresh the amount of RAM being used. So not the best solution, but it's good to at least that it can be done. So if you are a GNOME user, there's that information for you. One 1550. Not great, but not terrible. They probably mean megabyte because like the amount of space that something using as RAM would be bytes, not bits, because that's more transfer data. It'd be weird for them to use bits. They might, I guess, but I think they should just typically just use bytes, because the system resources would just use bytes anyway. So I don't know. Sabrin, yes, I have seen Linux Gamecast. Not a lot, but I have seen a couple episodes. I actually meant to send a message to them asking if I could, if they'd like me to have me on occasionally, maybe. I like games. Firefox is not violating privacy, no. That is not at all. That's on the topic today, by the way. You say memory leak and you crash my Windows. My bad, Ryan. I'm sorry. Even better solution, go Qt. I agree. Qt is better. Oh, Sabrina, it might be since then. I mean, it's possible that problem has existed for a very long time, because they haven't really noticed it until recently. It seems, anyway. Oh, cool. Wayfire is a new Wayland compositor that was somewhat announced recently. There are a lot of updates that are happening this week, so I wanted to talk about it. But Wayfire is a compositor, is a 3D, well, self-described 3D Wayland compositor built on top of the Western library. Weston, if I might have said that Western, but Weston library. Now, what's really cool about this is that it's taking like some old traditional concepts of plugins and bringing them to Wayland. So, for example, if you like, you can have like on-screen keyboards. That's nice, but you can also have desktop cubes because reasons, right? Who doesn't like desktop cubes? You can have desktop cubes. You can have workspace, like workspace previews, like the expo modes of various different other DEs, and you can have custom configurable key bindings. They're working on. They're now currently working on tiling modes and floating modes for Windows. They are even adding some window rule concepts that like Plasma has in KWin, as well as a bunch of more things. So this looks like a really interesting project, and one of the things I also wanted to point out was that they said that there's support for native Wayland and X Wayland already. So it's possible that you could go ahead and just already try this out. I haven't seen a distro that's utilizing it yet, but if I do, I will let you know. I opened last time only Facebook and Chromium. Surprise, under 100% load. Well, Chromium is also incredibly bloated. Like, Chromium is the heaviest browser in existence. So, I mean, it's not surprising that it would use a lot of RAM if you have Chromium running. So, Brand, I mean, I don't know if that's actually what happened, but their track record kind of implies that it is. It is possible. It's kind of funny that Ubuntu was trying to push something upstream to GNOME, and GNOME said no because it would be too much maintenance. They don't like maintenance. Well, that's mean, Sabrin, that they would do that to me. That's rude. I mean, they're probably not doing it on purpose or anything, but who knows? Who knows? This week we got some news from the Linux I hate when I do that. Oh, it's so annoying. This week we got some news from the Linux Mint team about Linux Mint 19 or Terra. Tara? I think it's Terra. And we had a release date. Well, ish. We got a release month. So they have announced that June 2018 will be the release of Linux Mint 19 based on Ubuntu 18.04. But also with it, they got an announcement for the Mintbox Mini 2. The Mintbox Mini 2 actually looks pretty cool. It's a reasonably priced miniature powerful PC. So it's got a decent processor of a Celeron processor, quad core. Also has like 4 gigs of RAM. So it's a pretty powerful machine, even though it's a small, very small form factor. So that's pretty interesting. It has dual band antennas for both the 2.5 and the 5 gigahertz spectrum, and it has support for 2 gigabit Ethernet ports which is pretty interesting to have but two of them. It has support for HDMI 1.4 and Mini DisplayPort 1.2, both of which are at 4K resolution compatible. And they have built in by default a 64 gig SSD. Now, this is kind of similar to like some people might refer to like an Intel NUC, but the difference between the NUC and this is that in a NUC, the RAM and the hard drive do not come with the device. You have to add that yourself on additionally. Whereas this is $300 base price, and they have a pro version as well. But this particular one is $300, and it comes with a 64 gig SSD, 4 gigs of RAM, up to 16 gigs of RAM if you want to upgrade to it. You can also upgrade the SSD if you'd like to as well. But this is like a really interesting approach that the Mint team is doing, because having like a go-to small, pretty much easily accessible device that you could give someone, instead of like if they wanted to upgrade it, you could give like, or you could give it like to someone who just wants to have their own computer, but they don't really need anything powerful. This is a really interesting idea. So I'm curious to see how this works out for the Mint team, as well as if any other distros are kind of looking to do something similar. So this particular product also has 5-year warranty, so that's pretty cool. But anyway, so Linux Mint 19 is coming soon, and the Mint Box Mini 2 will have Linux Mint 19 pre-installed by default. Welcome to the stream, Joe. Mini Mints. Did I say Mini Mints? I might have. I use XFCE because I don't care anymore. I love that reason. That's fantastic. I'm cheap, and the new AMD GPU drivers are actually pretty good. Yeah, I mean I actually bought my current computer during the time that AMD sucked, which was like 2013, 2014. So when AMD is at the point where it's actually a good option hardware and driver wise, I am so excited to use AMD. Like the open source initiative they're taking is so great. Like I just wish they would have done this like 10 years ago instead of abandoning Linux, like they did. But still. Thanks to you getting my thoughts about getting a Raspberry Pi is now reality. Nice. Nice. I'm glad you're having fun with it. Yeah, the new Pi is pretty cool. If you haven't had it in a while, or if you don't have one or you haven't upgraded, this is probably one of the best options to get. Like I haven't upgraded mine in a while, so I'm considering doing so. Yeah, I'm actually curious what Approve said. I messed that up, I think, but I'm trying. So Joe, what do you have any plans of what you're going to do with it? HTPC, that's a good one. As far as HTPC, you should look at Libre Elec. It is great. But Ubuntu Mate is also fantastic. So, either way you do it. Speaking of Ubuntu Mate, Isn't that convenient? I calculated that. I did that on purpose. I'm just going to zoom into that because that's easier. There we go. And Ubuntu Monte announced this week that they have a new default layout coming with Ubuntu 18.04. And that Ubuntu 18.04 layout... Wait, what? I don't know what I'm saying. That came out of nowhere. I got a little tongue twisted. The Ubuntu Mate team announced this week that there's a new default layout for Ubuntu 18.04, and that layout is called Familiar. Basically, what they're doing is changing the regular traditional layout to, instead of having the separate menu systems for application system and places, they're going to replace that with the Brisk menu, which has them all in a nice, more modern style menu. In my opinion, this is a much better solution. I think they should kind of do away with the traditional style of two-panel system. But other than that, I think this is a much better, much improved solution rather than the previous version. There was a talk about this changing the previous version, changing this sooner, but for some reason that didn't happen. I'm not sure why. I think it was more like the community didn't want this, but I think this would be a much better compromise between the old traditional style and a new modern style. I still vote for having a more modern style, but this is at least a nice compromise. So the familiar desktop layout for Ubuntu Mate is coming in 18.04, and it looks very nice. They should totally just use the what's it called? I don't know. The one that looks like Pantheon. That one's a nice one. I wish I had an on-off button. Yeah, that's one of the problems that the Pi's had a lot for a while. Yeah, the Pi can stay on for almost infinite. Yeah, like almost. There's actually some cases you can get for it that will even make less the heat, it'll generate even less heat. If you want, there's one called from Flirc, FLIRC, and they have their case has a thing built into it that's like a heatsink. It's really cool. So you can even use it even longer if you want. Oh, you can always change it back because there's a really funny project that Raspberry Pi has, Joe, called Noobs. New out of the box system, Noobs. And it allows you. It's basically just an installer script. You add this. You put that onto. You put that onto the SD card and just load it up, and it should just give you the same kind of installer thing. But Kodi is the media center that LibreElec provides. LibreElec is the operating system that provides like a full service type thing of Kodi. Why would someone need two panels? I mean, back in like 1999 or like 2004 or whatever, maybe it made sense. I don't know. Like, I remember having it back then. It was like, oh, that's nice. And then one day I just decided I don't need another panel and got rid of it and never went back. I think they made it a long time ago um, to just have both Mac and Windows look for some reason. I don't know. To be different, I guess. Flirk isn't compatible with the new DB Plus. I'm not sure why it wouldn't be, because I think the form factor is the same. Like the ports and locations of things, and where the processor is. I'm pretty sure they're all the same. So it should be compatible, but it might not be. Includes heat sinks. Oh, nice. The micro SD had noobs on it. Yeah, you can put noobs back on if you want to, because it's basically just download a zip file, extract the zip file, put the contents of the zip file inside of the regular file manager of that card. That's it, and then you just run it, and then it will automatically prompt you for the installation stuff. It's way easier than I'd expected it to be. The heatsink on the lid is too low. Oh, I see. That's unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. Because Flirk is like the best looking case that exists for the Pi, in my opinion. May get out other SD cards and change. Yeah, I did that too. I have 4 SD cards and 2 Pis. So I switch them back and out whatever I'm trying to use them for. Although I'm considering turning one of the Pis into like a controller for a NAS or something. We'll see. Haven't decided on that one yet. I'm not gonna be done with that. Yeah, I gotta fix that. How do I want to fix this? What 11? Okay. I think I'll just leave that and get rid of this part. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I think this is a combo one, though. Pretty sure this is a combo. Okay, let's go here. You didn't want a case that looked like a Nintendo box. I thought about it. I also thought about getting one that looked like a Lego box, but I didn't get that either. Actually, I don't think I got. No, I didn't get the fork either. Because when the fork didn't exist when I got mine. I got. You can kind of see it. They are right here. There's a clear one and a black one. So the cases are clear and black. Thanks for coming to the stream, a perv. A perv. All right, there you go. That one felt right. All right. This week we saw some interesting proposals from the Canonical or the Ubuntu team, really. And, nah, it wasn't Canonical. Technically, it wasn't Canonical. So I'm not going to say that. This week, we got some interesting proposals from the Ubuntu community for some changes in Ubuntu or future releases. So, for example, first up, a friend of the show, Simon Quigley, proposed that the removal of Qt4 from the archive of Ubuntu and all of the repos. So the reason why is because Qt4 is no longer even maintained by the Qt project themselves. So it's essentially now up to Canonical and the Ubuntu community to maintain the support for Qt4 in the repos. Now this is to provide dependencies for a lot of applications, but most of which have already transitioned to Qt5 or have become unmaintained themselves and could be removed from the repos as well. So there's no reason to keep a deprecated toolkit when there's a lot more work to keep those for applications that are also being deprecated or at some point unmaintained. So this sounds like a really good thing, and it's not going to happen anytime soon. They're more or less aiming for the 1904 release to have this being completed. So this would be pretty interesting because it would also free up a lot of worry about whether or not the application is compatible with later versions of Ubuntu and stuff like that. So, in my opinion, this sounds like a pretty good idea. Also, there was a proposal for the LZ4 or LZ4, depending on where you're from, the compressor for init RAM-FS to be used in the... Basically, it's actually going to be considered to be used for 1804 in a experimental state, and theoretically maybe default for 1810. They did say that if it works well in 1804 that they would like to push it to 1810. But what this would do is actually increase the size of the initrd.img file, but decrease the time for extraction of the file for booting the operating system. So it could improve the boot time from maybe even increase a double, make it twice as fast as it currently is. So that has a lot of potential, and I'm looking forward to see if it works, because if it does, the what is it? Yeah, the ZSTD compression for I can't remember what it's called. What was it for? I can't remember. Oh well. I'll probably remember later. The compression, ZSTD compression for... No idea. Kernel panic. Oh well. Moving on. Can't remember. Stream stopped, didn't it? Is it back? Yeah, that my connection just broke for something, and I just got a notification. I was like, "Ah, man, I'd already started one." Yeah, it took live literally. Yeah, perfect timing, really. I was not talking about LZ Bench. It's ZSTD from out. It's an algorithm that made by Facebook, and I don't remember what it was. Like I know what it was. I just don't remember. I can't remember the words to describe it properly. I don't know, but it don't matter. It's fine. It's not that important to the topic, so actually at all. I do not speak. I think Russian. Polish. Really? That's Polish? A friend of mine's from Poland, and he never types like that, so I don't recognize that at all. I mean, to be fair, he also knows I can't read it, but that's not the point. um. But anyway, welcome to the stream. Thanks for coming. Oh, really? I know that, Watson. You're from Guyana? That's cool. My location's boring. U.S. Lame. Long range match finder. I don't think so. The only English speaking country in South America. I did not know that. That's pretty cool. Losing your touch. That could be applied to so many things, Darkwing. I'm not totally sure which specific one you're referring to, because I've lost touch on so many times. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what could that be specific about. I don't know. You're like all kinds of things. This week we got an update from the BitKey project, and if you're not familiar, BitKey is they describe it as a Bitcoin Swiss Army knife and verifiably secure, self-contained live CD/USB. So what this is actually a distribution based on Debian that provides a lot of like all the utilities and tools for having a Bitcoin or like a cryptocurrency wallet. It doesn't have to be Bitcoin, but it supports many different types of currencies. And it's a distro that is built on turnkey Linux build system. So it's intended to be like a distro, like an easy access, low barrier to entry to be like getting into the Bitcoin not necessarily mining, but like just the cryptocurrency space. And a really interesting thing about it is that it uses the Electrum wallet system, and you can put the wallet on a USB, and automatically it's LUX encrypted with a loopback file system, so that the live USB that runs BitKey doesn't have to be the same source that the wallet is stored on. So you could theoretically have it in an air-gapped system so that you can do Bitcoin transactions without actually having to be on the internet all the time. So you can disconnect from the internet and have your wallet always disconnected if you want, and then only connect it when you need to use it. And they have like different usage modes, so you can have like cold usage, hot usage, implying that you're always online versus not online. It's a really interesting concept, and the original creation of BitKey was actually kind of went unmaintained for a little bit, but there's now a community edition that someone took up and like kind of forked it and created the BitKey Community Edition, which has a lot of maintenance, and they're adding a lot of cool things. Like recently, they added KeyPass XC, so like there's and also it's got like the basic features of like a network manager, print manager, etc. So it is a really interesting concept for people who are interested in checking out the cryptocurrency space, especially because it's like it's trying to balance between convenience and security, which I like that idea. So it has support for Bitcoin, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Dash, Monero, Ethereum, and a bunch of other ones. So if you're interested in checking out Bitcoin or any kind of cryptocurrency, this might be a good solution, especially because it has a lot better security than like phone apps and stuff like that. So check it out, BitKey 14.2 Community Edition. Left open-ended for a reason. Oh, I see. Thanks. Appreciate that. It could be his surface. It's just scratching the surface with you, Dark One. My Remix OS tablet at the moment, so can't blame me on the surface. Bunny tokens. There should be. There should be. The special mode offered by ZTSD called dictionary compression. Actually, yes, I think that is it. That's what I was trying to say. I mean, I don't know what I was saying beyond that, so I'm probably gonna go back and do it. But I appreciate you letting me reminding me about that, because it was gonna drive me crazy if you didn't let me know what it was. But yes, I think I was referring to that. Because it was a compression-related thing for ZTSD. I was like, what is it? It's making me crazy. All right. 53. We're going to go into some gaming news now, although not a lot of gaming news, mostly just like hardware stuff. But there's like one section of gaming things that's actually gaming. But this one's a really cool one. So even if you don't like games, I think you would like this, at least be interested in this. Maybe not a little bit of it. Maybe not a little bit, but still. It's also for science. We'll get to that. What? The Atari box has been rebranded to the Atari VCS, or Video Computer System, which is like an homage to the previous, like the old Atari 2600 video computer system. So they've rebranded the Atari box to the Atari VCS and have announced that they're going to announce the pre-order date. That's weird, Atari. That's weird. You're going to announce when you're going to announce something. So anyway, in April, they've decided that they will be announcing something about when the pre-order dates are possible to get the Atari VCS. Anyway. But I'll go ahead and switch to it. There we go. But they did give us some new information about what the console is going to look like, as well as the peripherals and controllers with it. So we already kind of like, I got a teaser for the Atari joystick. So that's really cool. So it's gonna have like an homage to the old style Atari, but they have a new controller that actually looks pretty nice. Like, it looks like it has like a really nice design and is kind of similar to the way that the Xbox is designed, so that the Xbox controller has like instead of having the analog sticks in the same, like they're asynchronous, they're not in the same positions for the different hands. So this is a pretty interesting approach, and I think I like it. Hopefully it actually comes out in the Atari VCS. I almost called it the other name that they changed for some reason. But hopefully it comes out pretty soon, and I look forward to it because it does look like a really cool console, and especially since it's based on Linux, that's always fantastic. So I'm looking forward to it. We'll see. Only game is Rocket League. The only game that's needed is Rocket League for sure. The announcement inception. It's an announcement that they're going to make an announcement. Like, what? All right, now we're going to close this go back to here, switch. Right to here. $14. All right. 14. And we are ready to go. This week, AMD announced Radeon Rays at the Game Developer Conference, or GDC. Now, the Radeon Rays is a GPU intersection acceleration library using Vulkan, which is great, and it's a ray tracing software development kit. So it just basically provides a lot of improvements for developers to create hardware rendering for like ray tracing and stuff like that you can have like better shadow effects and things like that, and more details. What's really cool about this is that it is open source. They also made an open source standalone renderer for Radeon Rays so that the developers can really quickly get into using it. Now, it's even better than that, though. Instead of just being open source, that's not enough for AMD, it seems, so that's fantastic, by the way. They've also made it um, independent from the hardware. So the Radeon Raze is not an AMD specific thing. It is it works on pretty much every platform that supports OpenCL 1.2 standard, and it will work on. It's not limited to AMD hardware, and it's not limited to any specific operating system. So potentially, it has a lot of potential for development for a lot of games, and it could be a big game changer for video game developers. It allows them to be able to maintain code that isn't hardware dependent, which is fantastic. So this is great news from AMD, and good job. My throat messed up a little bit there. Welcome to the stream, Thomas. All right. Going back to 15. Oh, I gotta close those. Cool.
Hello, everybody.
Whoa, mute that. Perfect. Really? That seems weird. Why did that not work earlier? What? Give me the one I want, please. What do you... Literally every image is making me open everything. Wow. All right, then. I'll just leave it there and stop worrying about it. All right. Oh, Brennan. Wow, thank you for the super chat, Brennan. These streams complete my Saturday afternoons. That's awesome. I appreciate that. And there's another super chat from you. I appreciate that. That's like your third, I think. That is awesome. Thank you. Welcome to the stream, Johan. Johan? Johan. Let's go with that. Yeah, it's afternoon for me as well. So it's accurate for me, so I'm okay with it. Next up in the show is the Linux Gaming Roundup. We're going to talk about a couple topics that are Linux gaming related, and one of them is for science, so stick around for a little bit for that. But first up is F1 2017 is currently in a free weekend, and it has 70% off for if you want to purchase it. So instead of the usual like $60, it's only $17.99. So that is really awesome if you're interested in checking out F1 games. What's the free weekend is available to you can free to play for Steam, and if you would like to buy it, check out the link in the video description for the Humble Bundle link. The Humble Bundle link in the description is an affiliate link, so I will get credit for the purchase if you do decide to buy it, and I would appreciate that. But the what was I gonna say? What was I going to say? I did it again. Psych faulted again. Oh, got it. Unfortunately, this is only going to be available for the weekend, so the discount and the free to play ends on Monday. So if you'd like to get the information before, like things like this, when they're time sensitive, I typically share them on the Twitter account for This Week in Linux at This Week in Linux, or also on the Tux Digital account at TuxDigital.com. Unfortunately, Tux Digital is already taken, but Tux Digital .com is the Twitter account for that. And if you'd like to, you could follow those to get more timely fashioned news like this. Okay, so that messed up because I couldn't remember what I was going to talk about. Like, why did I stop here? Oh, right. Does your link work for any Humble Bundle purchases? Yes, it does, I think. If you go to tuxdigital.com/humble, that should just work for everything. I think that works. We'll see. That should work. That did not work. That does work. Okay. in theory. So tuxdigital.com/humble sale works. I need to make the humble one work too, but humble sale works. But it should work in general. I don't know for sure though. 10, 20. All right, now we're gonna move on to the next thing. There's some more game stuff though. Also, this week, the Fanatical store decided to put on Lethal League up in their store for free. Now, this actually gets you a Steam key, so you can buy it. You can get it for free from Fanatical, and redeem the key on Steam, so you can play it with your Steam friends and things like that. So this is pretty cool. I mean, this is a 2D fighting game. It looks ridiculous, but that's why it's fun. That gives it character. So it's a 2D fighting game where you don't actually fight each other. You fight, like you hit a ball in between, like an explosive ball in between each other. They call it an anti-gravity ball, so that you hit it, and the more you hit it, it gets more like intense and powerful. So then whoever gets hit by it gets a certain amount of damage. But so it's like it's an interesting combination of like Street Fighter meets tennis, sort of. So I think it's pretty interesting. So I'm gonna check it out. Now, in the show notes, there is a link to the Fanatical store, and this link is an affiliate link for Tux Digital, which gives Tux Digital credit for that purchase. But the reason why I'm bringing that up for this particular one, why is it even needed to be since it's free? I don't know. I'm just curious if they will credit Tux Digital for anything at all, or even make note that it was credited because it's free. So I guess what I'm saying is it's for science. Let's do it for science. Also, let's check out AlgoBot. It's an interesting puzzle game that you can you play as a robot that is managing a colonization ship that is intended to like go to other planets to put people in, but they're all asleep, and unfortunately something goes wrong, and you have to fix it before everybody dies. So it's a little morbid, I guess, in a way, but it's a programming concept puzzle game. So it's still pretty interesting, and it's got a nice quirky style. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, I like puzzle games because the more frustrating, the better for me. So I know that's not everybody, but anyway. And also next up is the two games that are battle royale type games. If you've ever heard of PUBG, it's the same kind of thing where you have a bunch of people in a single game and you try to kill each other, by picking up loot and weapons and stuff like that. And it's this one's interesting, but because it's an 8-bit style, maybe 16-bit style actually, video game where it's browser based, so you don't actually have to download anything or install anything. It's just you just go to the website and play it. It's called Battle Royale Unsung Heroes, or I like to call it by its acronym or initials, BRUH. I love that as an acronym. I don't know why, but yeah, I do. So Battle Royale Unsung Heroes is an interesting one to check out. And also there's Survivio, which is another Battle Royale web-based game that has like an Atari 2600 style of very, very 2D. So if you're interested in that kind of game, check these out. And this one, both Survivio and Battle Royale Unsung Heroes are free to play. And I have actually played these, and it seems like it's ridiculous because it is, but they are very fun, even if just for a few minutes. Just check them out. It's pretty fun. So there you go. That's the Linux Gaming Roundup for this week. 2:14. All right. Gaming's done for people who don't like gaming. Spit the marbles out. Yeah. I kept saying fanatical like really weirdly. I don't know why. Thanks for coming to the stream, Johan. I look forward to the next biddle as well. I know, Clive. I know you don't like gaming. That's why I'm ending your suffering right now. You're welcome. I'm not saying fanatical. Am I? I might be. I don't know. Fanatical. Okay? Fanatical. You're fanatical about pronunciation in general. Yes, I am. I try to be. I know I'm going to butcher it sometimes, but I try to do it right. Fanatical. Fanatical. Anyway. Canonical. There's some people who do some YouTube things that like to say canonical, and it's funny. I don't give them a hard time for it, though. It's just funny. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see. 16. This week we got some interesting news from the Lineage OS team. They created the Lineage SDK, or software development kit. They call it, it's a powerful resource that allows you to keep up with both the features of the Lineage OS without being connected to the core Android frameworks, but also add some extra functionality to app developers, so that you can now like specifically provide support directly for Lineage on top of having to just build for Android. So that is pretty cool. They have added like a styles API, a profiles API, and a bunch of other stuff with some nice improvements of like having automatic dark themes and stuff like that. So this is a pretty interesting approach that Lineage is doing. I hope they expand this out even more, so that potentially do some partnerships with different phone companies. That would be fantastic. Just hint, hint. Anyway, Lineage. Well, it's not Lineage OS SDK. It's just Lineage SDK. Okay. Fanonicals. The canonical fans are fanonicals. Is that what you're saying? If so, that sounds pretty good. I'm okay with it. Here we go. This week we got some news from Red Hat that 6 more companies have agreed to adopt the GPL v3 termination language for GPL v2 licenses. So the termination language sounds like a weird thing to call it, but this is essentially saying that these companies are going to adopt an approach for termination of that offers distributors of the code an opportunity to correct errors and mistakes in license compliance. So, for example, if they're not currently compliant to the license for GPL v2 or whatever, it allows them a certain amount of time to correct that in compliance so that they're not sued by whoever technically owns the rights to that code. So that's pretty cool. And including in this list of 6 companies is the CA Technologies, Cisco, HPE, which is the enterprise version of HP, Microsoft, SAP, and SUSE. So that is really nice to see. So we're having even more, like a few episodes ago, we talked about how the kernel themselves are talking about doing the termination language for their usage of the GPL v2. So it seems like a lot of companies are also adopting that type of language and agreement for the compliance aspect of the license. So that's really nice to see, and it's always good when people try to get along. Was that too cheesy? Probably. Probably. I'm going to keep it. Okay. Wait. How many do I have in here? I think I have a lot. Yeah, go away. Okay, cool. That's an adorable Firefox. Yep. Technically not a fox. It's called a red panda. Although it's not a panda either, technically. Whatever. Up next in the show is some Mozilla news. Mozilla announced that they are going to stop Facebook advertising and that they are now demanding some changes from Facebook about their privacy policies. Now, actually, Mozilla has confirmed on a interview, the CEO of Mozilla has confirmed that they are in talks with Facebook now regarding these concerns, and they will give us more information once they have solidified the details, I suppose. They've also issued a roadmap for 2018, and this roadmap provides their goals for what they're going to try to do, which is add some new privacy and security features. So they're going to tackle some bad ad stuff, so like autoplay videos and things like that, and they're going to clean up a lot of the annoyances that the web has now generated, I suppose. You're going to also filter certain types of ads as well. One of the really interesting things they're adding is a new password manager called Lockbox. And Lockbox is it's a standalone password manager that's going to integrate with Firefox. Now, it's kind of been known that the Firefox password manager is terrible because all password managers for all browsers are terrible. All the built-in ones, I mean. All built-in password managers for every browser, it's awful. So it's nice to see that they're working on making a better version with like a whole standalone system. Then we got some unfortunate news for some vulnerabilities, but they were fixed in Firefox 59.0.1. And now these vulnerabilities are related to the Vorbis audio data, as well as some lib trimmer with ARM devices. So that only applies to ARM architecture. And then finally, probably the most popular topic this week is, for Mozilla-wise, is the Trusted Recursive Resolver Shield study that's going to be done, or it was proposed a few days ago. And this is to allow Mozilla to test using a DNS over HTTPS, which would be a lot better, a lot more secure as far as DNS resolution. So this has a lot of potential to be a really good thing. So it's going to look at resolver timings, connection error rates, HTTP response codes, things like that. So it's actually really, really potential to be a good thing in the long term. But it has a little bit of short-term complaints from the community because they're saying it's a whole opt-out thing. Now, the opt-out versus opt-in argument is probably never going to end, even though a lot of projects that people support or are happy that do opt-in, even though they actually don't. They do opt-out, but that doesn't matter. That topic is probably never going to end. But what will end, hopefully, on this particular topic is the complaint of saying that this is opt-out when it's not. So this particular issue is this is going to be only available for people using who are opted into the Firefox Nightly branch of Firefox. So the nightly builds, if you are going to use Firefox Nightly, it means that you are opting into a lot of beta testing. The entire thing itself is beta testing. So if you decide to use Nightly, you're opting in automatically to all kinds of different tests. So this is not an opt-in versus opt-out. This is potentially weird because they're using Cloudflare as the hosted server to hold the data, but that seems like it's only for this experiment that they're doing that. So we don't know what the long-term usage of that data or the storage of the data for the testing would be, but at the moment they're using Cloudflare. So that could be could be an issue for some people, but overall, the whole opt-in versus opt-out, that's not a debate on this particular topic because you have to opt in to Nightly to participate in the first place. All right, got two more left. I mean, technically, the red panda is a fox, but it's called a red panda. That's the name of it. I mean, it's kind of a fox and kind of not. It's the nickname of a red panda is the Firefox. The regular name is the red panda. Why? I don't know. There you go. You're welcome. Useless information. I guess it's kind of fun, so maybe it's not useless. I don't know. Hello there. Give me some advice. I want Ubuntu 17.10. No, I want to switch to KDE. I would not suggest Manjaro because if you're an Ubuntu user and you've never used Manjaro before or Arch-based anything, that's problematic by itself. It could be unless you're prepared for it. But I would say, I'd say currently KDE Neon and 1804, when 1804 comes out, I would say Kubuntu. Because right now, I think the best option would be maybe Kubuntu 17.10 if you want to go ahead and switch. But if you're okay with waiting for 1804 of Kubuntu, I would do that. I'm using KDE Neon right now, and I'm considering switching to Kubuntu 1804 when it comes out. Why even cast pearls of reason to comment trolls? That's a good point, Watson. I don't know. Maybe it's maybe I'm a hopeless romantic as far as like people not being trolls. And by hopeless romantic, I mean to logic, not to trolls. That's weird to say. Whatever. Opt-in gang be hacked by DNS spoofers. Yeah, because they don't seem to care, I guess. This actually is this is a potentially really good thing. I mean, it doesn't have to be done in nightly. They could just do a testing like privately, but I don't know. It couldn't. I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing because the whole nightly part is not opt out. Okay. Let's go back to this one. I think it's 19 we're on. Yeah. $19. We got some security news from AMD about some flaws in the architecture of some of their processors. Now, the reason why I do quotes is because CTS Labs announced that they found 12 vulnerabilities in AMD processors, and they gave them 24 hours to fix them before they announced them. Now, that's weird, right? We talked about this in the previous episode for the patron exclusives topic, but I wanted to talk about this because AMD actually announced that they confirmed it. Technically, those flaws do exist. However, they are in the works of fixing them. But to be more important, the flaws are not really security things. Because in order to utilize all of these flaws, you have to already have administrative or root access, which kind of defeats the point of them being security flaws. They're just essentially bugs at that point. So that's basically it. Just to let you know that AMD will be fixing things that are not necessarily flaws that people want to pretend, because, you know, security, the information, the infosec or the security world is becoming a little crazy, and they want to scare people to get attention for their companies. And this is one of the things that CTS Labs seem to be trying to do. That's why they gave them 24 hours, because they didn't expect them to be able to fix it. Like, what? Anyway, we're good. So anyway, AMD will be fixing it, even though it's not that big of a deal. My nose itches. Yeah, for canvassing new business, yeah. They blew it out of proportion so they could get attention, yeah. Yeah, if you're root and admin already, it's irrelevant, yeah. Like, there's not a flaw. Like, if you already have root or administrative access, that's kind of already, like, dismissed all types of possibility of security. Yeah, we talked about the Linus comments in the Patreon episode of last week. But I just wanted to reiterate it this time because 2 reasons. 1, I mentioned the patron episode in the show, and 2, because the AMD responded. It's not for the selfishness of mentioning the patron stuff. No, it's not. Right. You're not drinking tonight, so the nose thing doesn't bother you, Clive? That's good. I mean, Watson, as far as like the CTS Labs people, if they wanted business, they shouldn't have done this stupid attempt to get attention. Like it just the attention they got was the opposite of what they wanted. Hey, you're incompetent and you're faking that this is a big deal. Great. We now know who you are and that you're faking that you're important. Like, good job. So if you're like sarcastically wishing them good luck, then yes, I agree with that too. Sarcastic good luck, CTS Labs. I learned my lesson last week. That's fair. Welcome to the stream, Rocco. Are you listening to me this time, or did you mute me? Did you mute me? I think you muted me. Rude. Rude. Next up in the show is in a minute. So hold on a second. Okay. Still listening for a few minutes before editing. Okay, cool. There's only one more topic left, so it's good timing. Oh, thank you very much for the super chat, Red Robbo. I appreciate that. And I am happy to do the stream for you, even if you don't give me super chat. So, plus also super chat. Awesome. Thank you. You know what's funny? The super chat is super confusing in the revenue information for the analytics of the channel because it says unidentified video. Doesn't say it's a super chat or anything. I think yours last time it said something like this number was like, where'd that come from? Unidentified. Like, oh, super chat. That's all it could be. But you know, good job YouTube keeping it straight and organized. But anyway, I appreciate it. I hope to catch tonight's Biddle. Yep, that'd be cool, Matthias. Is it Matthias? That's what I think it is. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the last name. I'm going to butcher the crap out of that. Okay, now I'm going to try. Edislate? Edislate. That can't be right. I mean, I had to be messing up. Okay, cool. Matthias. I get it. I can only offer you trash chat. I appreciate that, Clive. Any kind of chat is helpful, Clive. I appreciate it. Edislat? But why is the umlaut there? Doesn't an umlaut make it a long sound? That's probably does it in English, I guess. If it's not an English name, that would make it not matter and not the rules are gone. So obviously, why am I assuming anything ever? 'Cause, you know, what's the point? Pronunciation is so hard. I try though. He's like, yeah, in English, exactly. As soon as I said it, I realized it was like, yeah, that doesn't always make sense because not everybody speaks English natively, and names are not always English. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, umlauts do that most of the time. In O's and U's and E's, they do. So, in English, I'm pretty sure they do in general, but I could be wrong. I am not an English major, so I could be wrong. But anyway, welcome to the stream. Monolalia. How close is that? And when you go into gaming, it's snoozing. I get it. Sesame Street is brought to you today by the word umlaut. Yep. Yeah, there are. Umlaut is used in English, just not often. English adopts all kinds of stuff. Juiced aid sum umlauts. Exactly. I got sidetracked. That's fine though. That was fun. Even if I did get sidetracked. GitHub posted a interesting thing on their blog this week where GitHub found 4 million security flaws. That sounds bad. This is actually good though. They created a security alert system that will notify the developers of public repositories on GitHub if their automated system finds vulnerabilities inside of their code. So they found 400 million vulnerabilities in over 500,000 public repositories, and they notified all the developers and admins of the repos to get them resolved. And they said that they were pleased to announce that shortly after launch, over 450,000 identified vulnerabilities were solved by the repository owners. Now, it's not been around for very long, so there's probably a little bit of time, as well as there's some repos that were not necessarily being up to date anymore, so that they're not going to be maintained. They're not going to be resolved because there's no one maintaining them, and you shouldn't use those anyway. But they said the rate of resolution is about 30% within the first week. So within the first week of being informed, people have been fixing those. So the new security alert system is working pretty well. And I didn't even know it existed until they announced this blog post. So that's really cool. The GitHub security alerts seems to be working. That's not an umlaut. Those are umlauts. What do you mean? Those are that's what an umlaut is the double dots on top of the letter. I'm confused. So the difference between English does not typically use them in normal cases. There are rules about usage of them when they are used. So most English people don't even know what an umlaut is, how to say it, even know the name of it. They just see the symbol and go the weird little dots on top. So it's so rarely used that most people have no idea what it is. But it is used. It has grammatical usage in English. It's just not even remotely common at all. But typically, as far as English goes, whatever it is takes the letter and stretches it. However, if that's true in other languages, probably not. But that's how it is in English. At least based on my teachings, or not me teaching, but me being taught anyway. Such. I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but that's what I was informed as being. So, there you go. If I'm wrong, it's not my fault. That's what I'm saying. Yep. I do not accept fault. That is a completion of this week's episode of This Week in Linux. Thanks to the fine folks at the Umlau Project for sponsoring this episode. That's just what it is called an umlaut. Yes, it is. You're trying to look at the fact that English has like rules or anything. English doesn't have rules. English takes words from various different languages, combines them all together, adds rules that pretend to make sense, and then breaks them all the time. Like, I before E except after C. Or when sounding as A as in neighbor and way. Or insert 500 words that break that rule in every way. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, those rules don't mean anything. Welcome to the stream, Dave. You did miss it. I was on time this week, so that's why you missed it. Me language, Jesu language. Nice. Ascribes blame for all my flaws to my former teachers. I agree. That is their fault. You're not holding up the stream, and we're done. We're good. This is the first time I have finished recording the stream within 3 hours. I typically never meet that. Not only did I do it, I finished it within 2 hours and 45 minutes. That is an improvement. I don't know how I did it, but I did, and I am proud of myself. I was also on time. I'm also proud of myself for that, too. Yeah, it's weird. That's weird. English is basically like the Borg. It assimilates. Yes, it is. It assimilates everything and just takes over. Like the fact that a lot of words have like arbitrary English terms, and also they have the words that are French and adopts them as their regular words in English. Like venison instead of deer. So there's deer, and then deer meat is venison. Not because it means deer meat, but venison is just like the French word for deer. But it was converted into deer meat in English because for some reason. Because that's fun, I guess. Dave, this is not the first time I've been on time. No. It is the third time. And technically, I wasn't ever live streaming until episode 8 or 9 is when the first live stream was. So, I think. Yeah, I think it was 8 or 9. I think it was 8 was the first live stream. First, episode 1 through 6 had no streaming whatsoever. So, couldn't be late to that. So, roughly about 15 to 17 episodes, I have been on time 3 times. Still not a very good ratio, but not as bad as the possible 25. So I'm going to be specific about it. It's not that bad. It's still bad, but not that bad. Yeah, Christoph, there are more than one pronunciation depending on the context of how you do the word. Read or read, depending on the context. Minute or minute, depending on the context. That's always fun. 3 times on time. Yeah. Still bad. Then there's more, much better, more. Yeah. Blame his previous teachers. We all use Esperanto in chat. There you go. Really? Isn't it? Isn't English the native language? I know there's multiple native languages, but isn't that like one of them? I'm in touch with my masculinity, apparently. If it was good enough for Hemingway, it was good enough for you. That's a terrible thing. It makes no sense. People say that all the time. Like, just because he was born into English and then you read books from him, what if you learned another language and you read books from other people? Like, what does that mean? It's like, what? What a terrible way to justify something. Well, if it was good enough for someone else, it's good enough for you. Then nothing would ever change and no innovation wouldn't exist. And it's like, what? English wouldn't exist because English was an accident language that combined everything into like, blah. It's like, that's a ridiculous statement. People say that a lot, though. Technically, I'm a native language. I speak English a lot better than another language. In practice, though. Oh, I see what you're saying. But you can express yourself and the language still suck. Like, that's different. When I say the language sucks, it's because the language is confusing for no reason. Like, there are words that sound the same, homonyms, but are spelled differently and have different contexts. And there's words that are spelled exactly the same and have different context depending on how you use them. And then there's words that are have one letter difference that change the pronunciation entirely. So like though, THOUGH, take out the first H, it's now tough. Like what? People who are learning English if they're not native English speakers and they're learning English as a second language, that would be incredibly confusing for no reason. So that's what I'm saying. It's confusing, seemingly on purpose. English pronunciation is an utterly incoherent mess. Yeah. Yeah. If someone says that English is a bad language because they can't express themselves, then that's more of a issue for that person. But if it's a bad language because it has broken structures for no apparent reason, that does make it a bad language in that context. So it's fair to say it in that way. If they're blaming their ability to express themselves, then yeah, that's not the language's fault. Now, see, languages they don't organically evolve or they're not fluid or anything. So I'm going to get back to twerking and I barely could finish that statement before I left. I am not going to touch that one, Dark One. I am not even going to touch that one. Okay. I'm going to do 5 more minutes on the stream. And then I'm going to get back to, I'm going to go start doing some editing and stuff. Didn't go for the bait. I typically do. But I have learned that Dark One, most comments are trying to bait me. So sometimes I can fight it. It doesn't always work, but sometimes. Needed more plasma. I agree. Welcome to the stream, Good Looking Honky. That's a great name. I remember you before. It's still a good name, just saying. Responsible plasmatical. Okay. I like it. Dave, you might. I don't think most people would. Yeah, never. No, he would never do that, Joe. I would never. Shock-faced. Is that how it's spelled, Clive? I don't think he spelled it right. Most people wouldn't do what exactly? You know what? You know what? You can't insert word that you are fully aware of what I'm referring to that I will not say to solidify your statement that it might be awkward. There you go. I'm doing just fine, Honky. I appreciate that. How are you? It's how I spell it. There you go. That's fair, I guess. See? English is also up for interpretation for spelling as well as grammar as well as usage. There you go. Nope. Nope, Dark One. Not going to happen. Context depends on the region, too. That's true. I appreciate that, Honky. I would like more viewers as well. But, yeah. Either way. I appreciate all the viewers I currently have. Either way. But, yes, more would be even better. But that's as far as like the stream goes, it's fine. Like any people can make it. If that's great. If they can't, I understand. But as far as like the, the smashing that like button and stuff. Not Daily Dose, your weekly source for Linux GNews. Well, no. You're implying that the puns are bad. Puns are fantastic. This is a fantastic pun, and you're welcome. Enjoy. I'm glad you appreciate it, Dave. You're a connoisseur of puns, a punnosaur, if you will. Smack the Jesus out of that like button. Nice. Wasson, I actually appreciate that, but this time I think I'm going to go ahead and get some food because I haven't eaten today. And so I'm not going to do an after show this time because I'm hungry. Yeah, there you go. I typically don't eat that much. So I do fasting. Sometimes I remember to eat before I do the stream. Sometimes I do not. This time I did not. So, unfortunately, I'm a little hungry. Sounds like a dinosaur, the punosaur. That's true. It does. What do you think? What do you call a dinosaur that is a very deep thinker? A velociraptor. Yep. You're welcome. Buy that merch. Gotta do a video. Yeah, a music video. Buy that merch. Someone said, oh, I think it was Christoph, right? Did you send me a telegram? Oh, a different Christoph sent me one. Nice shirt. Nice t-shirt. Nice. So Christoph is on the stream, if I think a different one than the one who's has I don't think he said anything, but if you would like this shirt, it is a fantastic shirt. I agree. It is available at tuxdigital.com/shirt. The Linux is Everywhere t-shirt. It's a shirt I made to celebrate the proliferation of Linux. Tux is blended into the background to convey the message that even if you don't know that Linux or Tux is even there, it probably is. So, Linux is Everywhere t-shirt. Available now for shipping from the US and from Europe. Just go to tuxdigital.com/shirt. If you go to that and you're European, you should definitely go to the top right of the description. Actually, I think it's the top left of the description. That is a link to the EU campaign so you can save on shipping. Thank you for flying United. I don't know where that came from. It's like the voice. That's what like the voice that I was thinking of. Like the whole time, I was like, it sounds like an airplane attendant. You can get this shirt for only 4 easy payments of $17.95 and 1 complicated payment of 27 doubloons. We only accept it in Spanish doubloons, not Colombian doubloons. So thank you very much. Spanish only. Thank you. Also, 1843 is the particular type of doubloon that you should be giving us. So be sure to make sure that you provide the correct currency exchange as well. Watson, I do not have one of those shirts yet, no. Will you take bunnies? No, I will not take bunnies because those require attention and effort. I don't like either one of those. Does it come with a pocket fisherman? I haven't decided yet. That might be an extra add-on. Thanks, Dave. I'm glad you like it. Or either you like the idea of me selling shirts or you like the idea of this shirt and the design. Because I did design this shirt too. I need to design some more. Because I like this one, but, you know, there's only so many times I can annoy people about my shirt that they get annoyed by me annoying them about it. Plus, I'm going to do, I'm considering making some more, like, other stuff. Like, I decided I was going to buy me a mug that had Tux Digital on it. And I thought, well, maybe somebody else might want it too. I invested my life savings after an email. Nice. I actually designed this shirt for myself, and then I was like, huh, maybe somebody else would want it. And then that's how I approach most of my things. Maybe someone else would like too. Why be selfish when you can spread the message that Linux is everywhere? Right? It actually, yeah, it is Pittsburgh Ring colors. That is not on purpose, but, yep, it totally is. I thought it makes sense that they would have those colors, though. That makes sense. And the shirts do actually contribute to the Tux Digital channel too. So if you do want to get them, that's good. It's cool because it's a good shirt, and I design it, so I'm not biased at all, and it also helps the channel too. So that's additional bonus. You mean you can only annoy them with it so often before you annoy them by annoying them so frequently? Yes. That's exactly what I say. Yep. And the biggest like the big coincidence. Exactly. It's totally a coincidence. So. TuxDigital.com/Patreon. If you want me to annoy you some more about some ads, here you go. There's another one. There's a TuxDigital.com/Patreon. Why, you may be asking yourself, why do you say TuxDigital.com/Patreon and not Patreon.com/TuxDigital? Because that's also the page you could go to. Well, the reason is actually on purpose if I ever get annoyed or hate Patreon at some point. You know, because when they did that whole Patreon messing up the whole system and screwing everyone sort of thing that they almost did but then didn't, I was thinking maybe if they did it again in the future, I could say tuxuser.com/Patreon, and every time I say that in the show or wherever, someone could just go to that and it linked to something else instead that I control rather than always going to the Patreon thing. So that is why I did that. Yep, behind the scenes information. You're welcome. You probably don't care, but still, I find it interesting. Maybe not. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm going to stop rambling on this one. It's good practice to have that kind of abstraction. I agree. There are no flies on Michael. The Emperor has clothes. I don't think Ike liked the otter logo idea. Well, seals. Yeah, that was a seals thing. I mean, the seals eating penguins thing is probably not a good connection. Unless you, in case you have to move to Hateron or Hatreon. I like it. Pander to an interface, not an implementation. There you go. There you go. I'll also start using Tux Digital to do pretty much all links. So the links to the games that I talked about in the show are tuxdigital.com links, because it allows me to track how many people like actually click it versus me just saying it and hoping for the best. I can't track how many people buy it from that, but at least I know how many people click it. And then if the people actually tell me how many people buy it from that, I don't know if they do, because I haven't really done these programs yet to be notified. So we'll see. And one of them was actually for science. So if you weren't here during the time that I made this point, there's a, let's see if I still have it up. I don't think I do. No, I don't. Let's see if it's here. No, that's not it. Here? That's not it. Here. That's it. Bam. This sucks. I'd like you to point out earlier today, the Fanatical link could have been tested. Can't be now. Sold out. So within like 30, 40 minutes or so, it's now sold out. So that part is going to be cut out of the show, because it's no longer even remotely possible to test what I wanted to test. So never mind. All right, then. What I wanted to do was test to see if you went through an affiliate link to get a free game, would it recognize the affiliate link or not for science? And now you can't get it anyway, so it doesn't matter. You know, it's also kind of funny. I didn't know that there was any kind of limit, so I also didn't get it. Yep. There you go. That's called proper calculation. Wait, what? Why can't I get to that? I don't need that anymore. What is it doing? Well, I'm going to take that out now. That is unfortunate. Alrighty. That's unfortunate. Yep. Patreon is a real thing. Didn't know that? Makes sense, though. What did you do? I didn't do nothing. When is the website for tuxedo.com going live? You see, don't know. It's a good question. I don't have an answer right now. I think I said it was going live this coming week 3 weeks ago. It has not done that. So if I told you a time when it's going to happen, would you believe me anyway? When it comes to doing research and talking about topics and putting an effort in that, I always do as much as possible. When it comes to being on time with things, I try to be doing as much as possible. I don't sometimes accomplish it. So, I just had a dumb idea. You could also do design tutorials, walkthroughs, or whatever. Education content, which grows the crowd. Yeah, of course. But I'm going to do some things. Like I might do some Krita tutorials or Inkscape tutorials or like Kdenlive tutorials, stuff like that. But I mean, I wouldn't do any like Photoshop or anything like that. Because anything that's like not Linux usable, I wouldn't bother. But I do plan on doing some like GIMP for tutorials and Inkscape tutorials and stuff like that. Oh. Right. I got a message about the joke. I totally didn't remember the joke. I made the joke myself like 5 minutes ago, and I totally didn't remember the Spanish doubloons thing. It's funny because there's this weird thing that happens when you do live streams. You don't always pay attention to the things you say yourself because you're trying to manage the content, doing the switching and stuff like that, making sure you have everything prepared, making sure that you are actually like doing things like in a timely way and all this other stuff, just managing everything. So sometimes people will make comments that I will not remotely notice, like even clue into what they're like. If you have a conversation with me, like specifically individually, I will get every joke you could possibly give me. Well, within reason. I mean, probably not if it's a different language or a topic I've never heard of or whatever. But okay, maybe that was a bit of a really ridiculous broad statement. But most jokes. How about that? But in the live stream, there's oftentimes people will make puns, will make jokes, and I will not get the reference because I'm doing so many other things at the same time. It doesn't even like dawn on me what you're referring to. It's like I don't know what it is. Thomas, my dogs are doing great. They are currently wanting me to feed them again because I fed them before. I usually feed them around 2 to 3 o'clock my time, and it is currently 3:20. The reason why that's not a big deal, and I'm not mean, because I gave them a little bit early. I gave them half of their food earlier today, so for the rest of it, which I will give them shortly. I appreciate the concern, though. Well, not concern, but the interest. That's what I meant. Thinking more along the general visual design guidelines. Interesting. You just send me some more direct things about that. Like some like examples of what you mean. Because that sounds interesting. Okay, so I think that I should go eat something and feed my dogs as well. And in the stream here, it's been 3 hours and 21 minutes. As I just said that, somehow that timing was perfect. I appreciate everybody coming to the stream. I will be editing the show for tomorrow's release. And hopefully, I will also release the Patreon extras episode the same time. Sometimes I'm a little late on that for some reason. I'm going to work on that. So if you'd like, you get 5 extra topics as a patron if you'd be interested in going to touchdigital.com/Patreon. Or technically any kind of patron at all. That reminds me, I need to talk to those people who do the super chat. Because they should get extras too. Because why not? Wait a second. I was wondering why. Wait a minute. Is the chat not loading right now? I'm curious. That seems... I don't think the chat's loading for me right now. Huh. Because I haven't seen anyone say anything for a little while. I think my browser just went to, that kind of thing. You like my description? Okay. It seems to be loading now. We'll see. I'm going to test it. Yeah, it wasn't loading. That's weird. Cool. It works now. Steam dropped a couple of times. Oh. Hopefully it didn't drop while I was recording. That was weird. And it might drop while I was recording, but I hope it didn't much anyway. Because that would suck. I do plan on being on the stream, the Biddle stream tonight, Joe. That's weird. Well, all right then. I appreciate the messages. Let me know that some weirdness happened that I did not know that happened. It's also why I went to the Telegram message. Oh. Well, in that case, that makes more sense. Well, I hope there wasn't any downtime for the recordings. Or if there were, I can edit them out. We'll see, I guess. Might have to re-record something or something like that. I don't know. Either way, I'm going to go get something to eat. So thanks for coming to the stream. And I will see you next time, or maybe even later tonight for Biddle, if you want to check that out. That will happen in 6 hours, actually, from now. So, see you next time. I'm actually going to think about changing up some stuff the way I do the show next week. I haven't really decided how I'm going to change it up. But next week I will be testing some things. So, if you'd like to come to the live stream next week, you'll be able to see some different behind the scenes things that I normally do, because I don't know what I'm going to do next week, but I'm going to change something. I have like 3 or 4 ideas. We'll test at least one of them We'll see what happens. So anyway, thanks for coming to the stream, and see you next time.